Okay, let's continue with some more office systems to keep your Mary Kay business simple. You know, Mary Kay knew that people who are great with people probably don't like paper very much. And so our systems are so simple and so streamlined. The first form we're going to talk about is called the expense tracking form. And you can print that directly off Mary Kay InTouch. And the reason this form is so important is because at the end of the year when you go to do your taxes, it will help you do the happy dance. And the way you're going to do this form is you're going to print it, and you're also going to purchase one of those ugly brown expandable file folders that has 21 slots in it.
They do have them cute now.
Oh, they do have them cute? Okay. Well, the ugly brown ones are about $5. No. And so anyway, you want to get one of those, and you want to label it with the different labels that are on the expense tracking form. Now, there's actually more categories than there are spaces on the file folder. So you're going to look at some of those and think, well, you know, my children are grown, so I really don't have babysitting expense. And so you might combine a couple of categories, but you're basically going to label each of the dividers with one of the different business categories. Then each day when you come home, you're going to drop any receipts that you have into the appropriate category. So if you bought postage today, you're going to take that receipt, you're going to look at the receipt first, make sure that it's clear, that it's dated, that it's obvious it's postage, and then you're going to drop it down in that section of the brown expandable file folder. Then once a quarter, a calendar quarter, not a Mary Kay prize quarter, but a calendar quarter, you're going to have a note in your date book, and it's going to be an appointment with yourself, and it's going to say reconcile receipts. And what you're going to do is, so for example, April 1st, you're going to go and, for example, the postage, and you're going to pull all the postage receipts out from January through March. You're going to add them all up, get a total, and then you're going to take a white envelope, and you're going to write on the outside of that envelope, January through March, postage receipts, and the total dollar amount of those postage receipts. You're going to put those receipts in that envelope, and you're going to drop it back down in the brown expandable file folder under postage. And you're going to do that with each one of the categories, transferring the total amount for each category onto the first column on the expense tracking form, because there are 4 columns that are designed for the 4 different quarters. And simply follow that same procedure with each of the categories. It probably will only take you about 20 to 30 minutes to do all of your categories. Now, the reason you put it in separate envelopes, so for example, quarter 2, April through June, when you do your postage, it's going to go into a second envelope, not the same one, labeled second quarter, April through June, postage, what your total is. You're going to transfer that total over to the second column for the second quarter under postage, and continue that process all the way through your receipts. Y'all, it is so simple to keep track. And then at the end of the year, when you have got all of those columns, everything that you need to file your taxes, with just a couple of minor exceptions, is right there on that form. And because of those envelopes being quarterly, let's say for some reason you needed to go back and pull a receipt, all you have to look through is one envelope, because you kind of usually have an idea when that expense was. And so it just keeps it so organized. Then at the end of the year, all you've got to do is just take all of those envelopes, rubber band them together based on category, and you've got your receipts completely organized. You know, I've seen pictures of like cartoons where the woman's hair is standing on end and she's got like 8 or 10 arms coming out of her and she's going crazy. I'll bet you she did not have an expense tracking form and an ugly brown expandable file folder.
Probably not. And you know, the thing I would encourage you with is, while we are not tax advisors or accountants, I just want to encourage you to make sure that you have somebody who is doing like hundreds of thousands of people's Mary Kay taxes, because there are so many legal, ethical, and moral deductions that we get to claim that are significant, that unless somebody is very familiar with our business, not just a home-based business, they are not going to know those deductions that are available. And I can remember Judy telling me that, and Brad had always done our taxes, and he had done a great job. And So I finally said, okay, we're just gonna do it this one year, and I want you to do it, and then I want the tax guy that does all these Mary Kay people to do it. And you guys, it was thousands of dollars in difference, thousands of dollars that we were able to have as far as deductions, because he really knew that. So just make sure that you have somebody that knows what they're doing. When it comes to those deductions, one of the areas that's going to be available to you in another form that you want to make sure you're tracking is your mileage log. You know, a lot of times when you are working your Mary Kay business, you can do that in conjunction with things that you're doing anyway, right? So if you are going to see your mom, take her Mary Kay products at the same time and have that as a delivery. If you are going to the grocery store, make sure that you're getting, you know, cotton balls and Q-tips and whatever you need for your Mary Kay business, because there's so many things that you're already doing when it comes to that gas mileage that can be a deduction. So there is a mileage log available for you on our unit websites under this session 5 coaching new consultant education area, and you can just print that mileage log off, put it in your vehicle, and that way you're good to go at the end of the year. Other thing you might want to think about is your 6 most important things list when it comes to your priority and your time management. You know, a lot of times we get to the end of the day, and just kind of like we talked about on our weekly plan sheet, we know we were busy that day, but we stop to think about, what did I really get accomplished that mattered? And so Mary Kay always encouraged us the night before, for the next day, to really sit down and make a list of the 6 most important things that we really need to accomplish in our Mary Kay business the next day. Now, usually we have like 66 things, but the 6 things that we knew that were really most important, because when we do that the night before, the fires have not started, right? We feel a lot more empowered, and honestly, our minds are free and clear when we go to bed, and we feel like we know what we're doing the next day. And just as a little freebie for you, one of the best tips somebody ever gave me was, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes your mind can be such a constant state of activity that it gives no room for clarity and thought and creativity and all that kind of stuff. But if you will write stuff down throughout your day, it will totally transform your ability to have clarity of thought. So grab 5 little notepads and put them in the following locations. Put one in your car, right? Because you always have thoughts when you're driving down the road. Put one in your bathroom, because we always have great thoughts in the shower, but it's rare the person who gets out, dries off, writes it down, and does something about it. Put one in beside your bed with a little pen light, because when you lay down at night and you think, oh, I don't need to forget, la 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 la, and then your mind is not free to rest like it needs to, but if you've got that notepad and a little lighted pen, you just jot it down and you're done. Put one in the kitchen, because that's usually where we are a lot of the times. You're cooking or you're helping with homework and you think of this thing and that thing, you just jot it down. And then one in your office. So the way my day looks, I might get to the end of the day and I've got 4 or 5 of those notes from throughout the day, things that I thought of that needed to happen, and I sit down, and it's from that I create my plan for the next day and my 6 most important things list. And that way things are not falling through the cracks, and my mind is just really free to be able to work in those areas like it needs to.
And we know we're suggesting some things that maybe you have never thought of or never used. That's where you pick up the phone and call when you have a question, if you're not sure how something works. Don't bang your head against the wall. Don't allow yourself to get frustrated. Just reach out and allow us to help you. Now, another tracking system or organization system that will be extremely helpful for you is managing your customer base. And on Mary Kay InTouch, My Customers is phenomenal. They have got so many resources on there, from putting your customers' profile information on there, their product purchases, I mean, just so much material. Even reports about productivity. You know, are your customers using all the product lines, or which ones are they not using? And you can print all of that on a report. So tremendous help there. If you are wanting a program that will also manage inventory, you might consider a program called Boulevard. There are links on both of our websites that you can go and kind of take a look at that software program. It's exclusive to Mary Kay Cosmetics, but it is not created by Mary Kay Cosmetics. Beth and I both use Boulevard and have for years and years and years, but we began using it before Mary Kay developed My Business. My Business is excellent, but it does not and will not ever handle inventory. So if that's an important issue to you, you might want to look at Boulevard. But bottom line, you want to organize your clients so that at a glance, you know what products they've purchased, you know when you're going to be following up with them, and it's just so simple to do that now that Mary Kay has created all of those resources for us. Now, here's another idea that will keep your office simple. Get a large binder, and in that binder you want to have January through December tabs. And what you're going to do is that when you get a packing slip from an order, you're going to 3-hole punch it and put it in behind the month that you receive that order. You're also going to print a copy of your weekly accomplishment sheets. Put them in behind the month that you did that. Team member reports from Mary Kay in Touch. You might consider printing those and putting those behind the month. And so it's just kind of a month at a glance for the entire year. That will be a fabulous resource for you in your record keeping, but also in measuring your progress and your success in your Mary Kay business. And so that's just one idea. Now let's talk about some things to focus on this week.
Well, I love the fact that, in our Mary Kay business, we can organize and plan and strategize and alphabetize eyeshadows, and we can become really creative about all the organizational systems that are not really making us any money. But by the same token, when we're doing the small things, just these simplified systems, they'll really make sure and increase our productivity. And so we want you to be able to complete your weekly plan sheet, share that with your sales director, enter that weekly accomplishment sheet online if you've had those first sales, set up that accordion file folder like we talked about for all of your taxes, expenses. Begin making a 6 most important things list every single day in your Mary Kay business. And you might have a 6 most important things list for your Mary Kay business, and then it's maybe a 6 most important things list for your family or your job or your other responsibilities. Also would encourage you to make sure and put that mileage log in your vehicle and begin utilizing that right away. And then decide how you want to track your customers. If you're more of a paper person, you might get a binder with A through Z tabs and hole punch your customer profiles and their pink sales tickets and just alphabetize them initially. If you're more of a computer person, definitely go on and enter those in My Customers. You're going to need to do it on down the road anyway for like the preferred customer program, but enter those in My Customers and make sure you're tracking them. You might consider purchasing Boulevard as a software tracking system to keep up with your inventory, and then grab that fat 3-inch binder with those January through December tabs to make sure that you're organizing what products you're purchasing from the company through those packing slips, and then what you're selling by printing out one of those weekly accomplishment sheets and putting it in there as well.
And in closing, I just want to encourage you, because maybe paperwork is not something that really just trips your trigger. But here's the thing, when we own our own business, we have to be willing to wear all the hats. The president's hat, the vice president, the secretary, and the treasurer. And I'm so thankful that Mary Kay, the woman, was such a visionary, and she created systems for us that were so simple, that would allow us to be successful in this business, because people always come before paper. But paper is kind of important so that your business runs smoothly. So congratulations on completing the Simple Office Systems segment. And we can't wait to hear about your successes. Talk to you soon.
Goodbye.